Hey everyone, it's Alex from Mutated Percussion. We are finally at our last video of this series. If you haven't seen the rest of the videos, be sure to check them out. I'll be sure to have a link in the description below. Today we have a kitty alert already. Tearing up my chair. I have a kitty alert already. Don't we? Sucking me up to me by giving me kisses on my nose. Alright. So today we are working on the bass line. We have 5 different sized bass drums here, with the smallest being 18 inches and the largest being 30 inches. We will be covering basically what to do when you have a broken hoop and making sure all your logos are as straight as can be. We will also be fixing some mallet holders and installing some rim savers. Those are very important. Without any further delays, let's get fixing. The heads we are using here are the Evans MX2 black heads. These, again, were specifically requested by the band director. The nice thing about these heads is that they do not require you to install any additional foam inside the drum. They come with these little pieces of cloth that you can install on the inside of the head around the outer rim, as you can see I am doing here. I will have to admit, this is one thing I really hate about these heads, just because I wish you could just put the head on and keep it moving, but it does allow you to really customize how you want your drums to sound. The thing is that I always put all of them in. You don't really have to, but I hate the sound of a ringy bass drum. I think we all can agree it is nice to have a nice bass drum sound. So the smallest drum came in with a broken rim. I'm going to replace that first now that the heads are prepped. There are ways to remedy a broken rim, but the best way to do it is to just replace it. However, in order to help prevent any rim breaks, it is best to get some kind of rim saver from whichever company you like. Later in the video, we will be covering putting some Tama ones on. I am again applying white lithium grease to this drum as well. I worked on this school's drums last year, and I was able to apply it to the other drums so they don't need it this time around. But this is a new drum, so it does need it. With the newer Yamaha drums, there isn't really a good way to tell the best place to put the mallet holders, which is one of the reasons I put the drum on earlier. But the best place to really put them is in the space between the lugs right before the logo decal. You never want to put it on the decal, that's the wrong place. Yamaha wants their logo to be seen, obviously. Then I am putting some Tama rim guards on here since Yamaha no longer officially supports Randall May. These are easy to put on and should just go on either side of the mallet holders. All you really need is a drum key. Now, if you have a drum where the mallet holders were put on in the wrong place, you can simply take them off and move them. However, if you have the Yamaha ones, it can be a bit more difficult. You'll have to carefully peel them off and put them in the correct spot. The older Yamaha bass drums have an air hole that goes right in between the right and left mallet holders. So it is easier to figure out where to put them. Again, it is a good idea to use a paint pen to touch up any ding spots on the shells and rims. While you are putting on the new heads. It is easier to see what needs to be fixed with the claws off the rims and the heads off the drums. By using the carrier, I can kind of figure out where the logo should be in relation to being on the drum. It's also nice when you are replacing heads because then you can use the relationship between the lugs and the logo to figure out how the head should be placed. This way, even without the player being there, you have a pretty good idea of how the head should be so that when they do get back to the school, the logos can all look straight when they perform. Once again, here's my buddy Eric talking about a cool trick to help you tune your bass drums and how he likes to tune his.
Well, first I'm going to talk about just the bottom three drums, all right? Let's ignore these guys for now. So no matter if you have a bass line with just 3 people, 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, whatever, the best tuning that I find is to tune the bottom drums to a power chord. So those of you who don't know music theory, that is the root note will be your bottom drum, which this one is a D. The next drum is a perfect fifth up from that, which is an A. And then the third drum, that is a perfect fourth up from the second drum. That will also be an octave apart from the bottom drum and the third drum. So you have a root, the fifth, and the octave. Yeah, and just the way those overtones, they match together, especially on unison notes, it's very powerful and big sounding. So I think a concern that some people have is, so yeah, this drum is a D, but what if your show music is in the key of like C sharp or E flat? Won't the tones conflict? And in theory, yes, but in real life, no, you're not gonna have to worry about that happening. And that is because, yes, the drum, it makes a note, but it isn't a note that rings out, right? It's an impact, right? It's a bass drum that's an impact note. So if your band is all playing concert E flat and the bass 5 is rolling on the D, you're not gonna tell that it's clashing. You can't hear it. Yeah, just don't overthink that too much, all right? It's more important that the drums are just kind of more in tune with themselves, and in the line they match and sound good together. So yes, power chord on the bottom 3 drums. You can never go wrong with that. So now we can talk about the other drums. So bass 3, we have a D here, and I like to tune just a D major chord with these drums. So this one is a major third above that, which is an F sharp. And then this drum is a perfect fifth from this drum. So we have major chord up and down. I think that sounds real pretty. I mean, it's really just personal taste what you want to do with the drums above the bottom 3. When I use 6 bass drums, I'll put the 6th bass drum major 2nd from this drum, or a major 6th from this drum. You can also crank it higher if you want, but I think that tuning is what I like. It works for me.
Okay, that is going to do it for this series. I hope you got something out of it. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share the video. And also make sure you hit up the merch store to really embrace your weird and get some awesome Mutated percussion gear. Anyway, if you have yet to see the first 3 parts of this series, here's a link on the screen. Be sure to check those out. And a big shout out to Eric over at EMC Productions for allowing me to use some clips from one of his videos as a reference guide for some tuning for both this video and the previous one. Anyways, I'll see you guys Sunday for a new video.